How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. This is the JR Wisdom channel. Once again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, feel free to gently press that subscribe button. That way you receive all the notifications for all of my future videos. And feel free to check out some of my older ones as well. You may find something you like. So today I'm going to be discussing a video, or a topic rather, in this video in reference to something from one of my subscribers. She reached out and she's been watching some of my videos for a while, and she just wanted some dating advice. And she basically was asking, how do you become, if you're just now getting into dating, she's rather young, how do you, as a woman, how do you become unforgettable and basically keep a man's attention overall? So I'm going to delve into 4 things overall, in my opinion. Once again, what I feel, what keeps a man's attention. And I think I'm going to add on also what she asked as far as getting a man to commit. So with that being said, let's jump right into her email and see what we have for her. So I'm currently a college student, 21 years old, living in the States. My family is religious, so we really don't date. We court, and of course this means waiting for marriage to be intimate with someone. My goal for myself is to date intentionally and with purpose. My family definitely instilled in me to have value standards, and that has helped me in attracting the right type of men for me. Now that I'm older, I know the type of man I want to attract, which is essentially someone who is of faith, masculine, ambitious, and mature. Likewise, I strive in being a woman of faith who is feminine, classy, soft-hearted, cooperative, and of course respectful. My parents immigrated to the United States when I was just a little girl, so they really don't understand the dating culture here. And because my family is so conservative, you can imagine besides marriage, we don't really talk about dating or courting much. Because of this gap, I want to reach out to you, for some game. The reality is that dating is a game, and I know that you have to be well versed in it if you hope to succeed. Clearly, clearly I'm not just because of how I was raised. But I thought, who better to reach out for some game than the mental alchemist himself? I know men and women approach dating differently. So I was wondering, from the male perspective, if you could please share what you think women should do to win at dating for the sole purpose of marriage, since in my case, my family only believes in courting for 6 months or less and rejects the title boyfriend, girlfriend, thus only accepting husband, wife. Besides the obvious of looking your best, what are some things you would recommend women should do in being hard to forget, especially when can be a lot of competition? And what do you think are some things that would make a man want to commit early? So, with that being said, I've done something similar to this in the past, and I've gotten questions like this. And as I always do, it's a disclaimer. My advice is coming from a Western perspective. I am an American, so your culture and your religious situation, in terms of that, you're gonna have your own set of how things should go and how courting should go and how marriage should go. So this is gonna be outside of that. I'll attach videos, and some recent videos I've did in reference to this. Some young ladies were asking about this as well. So I just want to give you that disclaimer first off. So I'm glad at what she put out. She was very observant and basically saying looking your best and being competitive, because that's the first thing. People act like that's not the elephant in the room. I know, very corny, right? Beauty is just one of those things that goes without saying. It's, for a man, it's one of those things that immediately that makes him want to go and talk to a woman right off the bat. I'm not even going to count that as one of the 4 reasons, but that's just implied right off the bat. Unlike women can see a guy and say that he's attractive, but she wants to know more about him. Is he good for her? Will she be safe and secure? Things like that. That's basically what it boils down to in terms of that. So the thing that's consistent about being in the Western society, unlike other societies and cultures, men tend to approach women a lot more often, and it's expected. Women get hit on day in and day out. no matter where you're at. You can be in church and you get hit on. That's just the way it is. So you can expect that right off top. In terms of from what this young lady was saying, she comes from a religious background, so I'm not sure if you're dressed more conservatively and based off your conservative upbringing, but know that the way you dress, that does affect how and how often you'll get approached. Now, this isn't a bad thing, it's a double-edged sword kind of. Women who dress more conservative are approached differently. This is the truth. They are tend to it tends to weed out the guys who are typically only attracted to a woman based off her body. He's after one thing, looking for something sexual. This will also make some guys hesitant as far as approaching you, even though they might want to, based upon the way you're dressed. Some guys may be hesitant, and the way you're dressed tends to carry or demand more respect from any potential guy who may be approaching you. So that is a positive in terms of that, if you're trying to weed out the best candidate, so to speak. How you carry yourself immediately says a lot to a man, and that's why I mentioned it first. You also mentioned being a woman of faith who's feminine, classy, soft-hearted, genuinely cooperative, and of course, these are all awesome virtues in terms of this. These are great virtues that you hear a lot of guys talk about, especially I've talked about this in the past in other videos. But in terms of attraction, once again, attraction is not a choice. This is something that's biological. The work is already done in that department. So when you meet someone, it's right off the bat. If a guy sees you, it's right off the bat. So I'm gonna just jump into the first reason. In terms of being unforgettable or standing out, just genuinely having a high vibration and frequency. When you meet a woman that, when you approach her, or if you see her out and about, or if you just been noticing her from afar and she just seems to have a high vibration, people are drawn to her naturally, men and women. It's something about that woman that makes her unforgettable. A woman that's engaging and isn't self-centered or self-absorbed, and is willing to talk to anyone, and isn't afraid of being who it is that she is. That's a woman that I find to be, and this is a different video, high value, because not every woman is approachable, not every woman is easy to talk to. And this comes with what we would say social skills and things like that. That is a turn on for a lot of men and women as well, as far as wanting to be around this type of person. And that's what a lot of us all aspire. Well, some of us aspire to be that way, to have that high vibration, high frequency, because you'll attract the same as well. So that's the first thing in my opinion. The second thing that makes a woman unforgettable, and you may find this to be petty or trivial or something like that, is the perfume or a musk that a woman wears, a fragrance that a woman wears. You ever been around a person or a woman and you can go back to a specific point in time? For me at least, I can go back to a specific point in time and tell you, I can remember a specific woman wearing a certain fragrance or a perfume or a musk, and it's like, wow, your mind being blown, or it's just that natural biological portion of it. And to me, sometimes the way a woman smells will trump the way a woman looks. Just my opinion. You can feel how you want to feel, you other dudes who may be watching this, trust me. That's just my opinion. If a woman smells good, it's just something that, you know what I mean? Anyway, number 3 is a woman who doesn't take herself too seriously. I know I kind of touched on this possibly on the first reason, but a woman who doesn't take herself too seriously, she'll stand out amongst thousands of women. A woman who's carefree, laid back, she's not basically afraid to be who it is that she wants to be. She's not like always serious, angry, and a lot of women are like, well, if you get to know me, you'll discover that part. Well, sometimes men may not even get to that point of getting to know you if you put that first, or if that's already there, or if he already is aware of that. Then all of that, all that getting to know you part may not even have to happen at that point. If you understand what I'm saying, because maybe I might not want to get to know you if you don't seem that way. Maybe I feel like you're stuck up, and this is preconceived notions that people have, but it's the reality of it. I'm just being honest with you. So, and that's number 3 on my list. Number 4 is where you spend most of your time at. Where do you spend most of your time at in terms of, and I know you probably, well, how does this make sense in terms of being unforgettable? So where you spend most of your time at in your leisure time will also determine the type of man that you attract. Depending on where you're at, you could be forgettable or unforgettable depending on that location. You have to sometimes place yourself in the orbit of the person that you're trying to attract. First off, you have to put yourself in that realm. They aren't going to beat down your door. Place yourself in that position or in that realm. Don't be afraid to engage in small talk. This is one thing that I've spoken with a lot of women or coached a lot of women, and they're like, well, I'm not about to engage in small talk with a, basically when I say engage, as far as initiate, I'm not going to initiate small talk. A man has to talk to me. Why would you have this dogmatic view of, because I'm a woman, that I don't have to talk to a man or initiate a conversation with a man in terms of that? You'll be like, well, putting myself in his orbit is good enough. Why do I have to do that? You never know. You could be attracted to this person not just by looks, but you could feel that this person, you would like to get to know this person better. But if you're waiting for this person to approach you, you may not even know. They may not even know that you want that just by you being in their orbit, because some guys just don't pick up on cues, just like some women don't pick up on cues. So why cheat yourself out of what could be a potentially great relationship? You could be standing next to the love of your life, but because you're just standing there and you're just like, well, he has to say something, otherwise I'm not saying anything. What sense does that make? You never know. There are no coincidences, there are no accidents. Sometimes you just have to push it further along, and there's nothing wrong with initiating small talk. And the thing about it is, how is someone ever going to notice you? A lot of times they may notice you, but they may not say anything. As opposed to if you did say something, that sets you apart from a lot of other women as far as being unforgettable, because it's like, hey, God, we pass by dozens of women a day, if not hundreds or thousands, depending on where you're at. And you can't remember all of them, but just by this one in particular saying something to you or creating small talk, something as simple and common sense as that can make you unforgettable. So, I just say that there are no coincidences. So that's my 4th one in terms of that. Now, you asked me to follow up on your email. What can make a man want to commit early? So just remember, in terms of making a man commit early, that's his choice. But it's your choice and your decision whether you want a relationship or not. It should not be a man's situation on whether he wants, or a man's idea whether he wants to have a relationship or not. It's always yours. Just remember that getting a man to commit early is, you have to understand who he is and what his desires are. That is that's crucial, that's paramount. And if you can be his peace while doing that, that makes you stand out and make him want to commit more so than any other woman who may be just there just for the hell of it. But at the same time, by being his peace and doing all this, you don't want to be, or you don't want to put yourself in a position or feel like you're his doormat, if that makes sense. A lot of women will be like, well, I'm his peace, I'm doing this, and this, but what he wants is a doormat at the end of the day. What makes you powerful is having the ability to walk away. And I say this over and over. That's what will make a man want to commit, is him knowing that you will walk away. So many women hang on and they feel like they're a ride or die, so on and so forth. And the guy just never ends up committing because he knows that you'll always be there. And this is what makes you valuable, is having the ability to walk away. That there's power in that. Remember, absence creates value. Fear creates value. Scarcity creates value. All these things create value. Fear of loss is one of the biggest things. And being able to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you is very powerful. And a lot of women don't understand this because of they have a fear that they may be tossed to the side, or they have a fear of being alone or starting over. And it's not just women, it's just people in general. They have a fear of starting all over or pursuing what it is that they actually want. So when a man knows that you're willing to walk away from something that no longer serves you, and if you're not getting a commitment, then that will spark something in him at the end of the day, or it may not. But this is something that you need to be aware of, is to value and honor yourself in terms of that. If you're a genuine person with good intentions and he isn't reciprocating that, then you should have no issues with walking away. And he knows this. Once he knows this, there will be no issues. Like I said, once again, I can't speak on that enough. I can't make that more important or make that, I don't know the words I'm looking for right now, but I can't emphasize that enough. Being able to walk away is something that will, if it hasn't woken him up, it will wake him up. Because you have to, it's a business. And I always say this again, relationships are business. It has to be, you have to state what you want instead of hoping someone assumes what you want. And if you're not getting what you want, then you need to move on and be willing to move on unilaterally. And to get what you want, you have to know what you want. So with that being said, it's always going to work out if it's a real connection. If it's not a real connection and he's just not into you, then it's not going to work. So with that being said, I hope that this helps out. I hope this explains some things. I know dating is hard, especially when you move to a completely different dynamic from what you may be used to, and especially such a young age at 21. And I understand from a religious background, they're telling you this is what you need to do. You need to get married, but you need to know what it is that you want before you cross that threshold, so to speak. So I hope that this helps out. Hope this helps many of you out who may be watching this. I appreciate you guys tuning in once again. Thank you. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask, or have any advice that you'd like to ask me, or have any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to contact me. Have no worries. And peace be upon you in the mercy and blessings of the Almighty. Remember, anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. I'm out of here once again. Peace.